It's not just about the mind. See, when we say mind, the English word mind is only generally referring to only the thought process. Thought process is the most surface element of your mind. I think we have given too much significance to the thought. In the yogic science, we do not attach any importance to what you're thinking about or feeling right now, because what can you think? Only the data that you have collected, you're recycling it, it's of no great consequence. Whatever is in the surface of your mind keeps rolling, that is not of any consequence. What you're thinking and feeling right now is very surface of mind. There are deeper dimensions of the mind. In Sanskrit language, there are many words to describe the different states of mind. But now there is one aspect of the mind. There is one aspect of the mind which we refer to as chitta. Chitta is the innermost core of the mind, which is your connection with what we are referring to as consciousness. If your chitta becomes conscious, if your chitta acquires a certain level of conscious control, if you acquire, now you have access to your consciousness. What we are referring to as consciousness is that dimension which is neither physical, nor is it electrical, nor is it electromagnetic. It is a quantum leap from physical to non-physical dimension. A non-physical dimension being the lap of the existence. It is the non-physical in whose lap the physical is happening. Physical is a small happening. In this cosmos, not even 2% or not even 1% is physical, rest is non-physical. This non-physical dimension, in the yogic terminology, we use a specific sound which is connected with that dimension. Today it's all very highly distorted. We call this Shiva. That means that which is not. When we say Shiva, we are not referring to some man sitting up there. We are talking about a dimension which is not, but it is in the lap of this dimension, everything that is happens. So if your chitta becomes even mildly conscious, your ability to not only communicate an idea or a thought, even to deliver something is possible. Physically deliver something is possible. So, is it a possibility? Definitely it is. Right now, can we teach it to all these people? In theory, yes. But are they willing to work towards it? That's a question mark. One big problem is, our education systems are such, we have glorified our thought to such a place. First, to bring that down itself will take time. To make them understand the stupidity of their thought, it will take a whole lot of time. Because everybody thinks they're smart, but actually the smartest thing about most people is their phone. Because your thought process is just an outcome of the limited data that you have gathered. It doesn't matter if I have read the libraries of the world, still it is too limited compared to what it is, what the creation is. With all the scientific development, we still do not know how a leaf really works. We do not know how a single atom in its entirety we do not know with all the scientific exploration. So that should be humbling enough for everybody to know that we know how to use things, but we do not know what it is. It will take a lifetime of attention to even grasp the fundamentals of what it is. So if people are willing to first of all understand, like the whims of their heart you just dismissed as dumb, okay? If they also understand the so-called smartness of their thought process and emotion is quite dumb, now it becomes easy. It becomes easy to train people that communication it's not like, now I want to generate this thought and give it to you, not like that. Things will happen to you before you think. What is best for you will simply happen to you even before you articulate in your mind. You don't have to ever think what you want to become, how you want to be. Life will just arrange itself. An intelligence beyond what you can contain in this bone box starts working for you, and it'll work. You heard of Ramanujam and others, just opened a window with their Devi and he becomes that kind of a mathematician, which is, even today after 1 century, they're still trying to figure out what he said. And the mathematical calculations that he gave is the backbone for describing the black holes in the universe. When he was there was no word called black hole, nobody knew there is such a thing. When we say black hole, what we are talking about is the curve of time and gravity, which is something modern science is battling with. He made mathematical background for that. As the curve increases, what is in existence, physical existence, becomes non-existence. So this is what it is when we say yoga. You reduce the curve in such a way that what is largely physical becomes non-physical. Once it's non-physical, time and space is not an issue. Once time and space is not an issue, communication is simply there.
If it has to be a forward movement, if it has to be a process of growth and not stagnation, it is important that we are in constant communion with that which is the ultimate truth. In identifying ourselves with limited aspects of who we are identified with many things. I've seen in the families sometimes, different people have different plates to eat. In case you change the plates and give, there will be a big argument. The plates don't taste, nor can you eat them. It neither tastes good, nor does it nourish you. But the plate, this is my plate, I will not eat in your plate. A very important thing. So anything that you touch, anything that you sit upon, anything that you set your eyes upon, you get identified. What this means is, let's say you don't know how to drive. There are many people who are doing this, particularly I see two-wheeler drivers. You will see their brake light is always burning because they got the brake half down and their one leg is down. This man is heading for a big mess. If you want to ride, both your legs should be up and your leg should be off the brake unless it's needed. Have you seen people going around with the brake light on all the time? Because they got the brakes, because they think it's safe to keep the brakes down. As you get identified with this thing and that thing and that thing, you're throwing your anchor, hoping your ship will go somewhere, it'll only sink. I'm trying to tell you is just this, that if you're in communion with truth, your associations will be just associations, not attachments. You will know involvement in life, but you will not know entanglement in your life. Not because it's right or wrong, with brakes on, if you try to go somewhere, you will burn yourself up. And then you think life is a miserable thing. Yes, if you have brakes fully on and try to drive, driving is a miserable process, no question about that. So if one has to constantly be on the move, if one has to let his life fly, not crawl, if one has to evolve, if evolution is an ongoing process for you, if your intention is to evolve as an ongoing process, every day, every hour, every moment, if you want to evolve, the brakes should go off, only then it'll roll. If you're driving a car or whatever, you don't have to keep the throttle on all the time. If you have it on for some time and then leave it, depending upon the kind of terrain you're doing, it'll keep rolling. As long as you don't touch the brakes, it keeps rolling. Life is like that too. Spiritual process is like that too. Sadhana is like that too. You just press it and leave it, it keeps running, unless you're braking all the time. Whatever you see, you're getting attached to it. Whatever you see, you're getting identified with it. If you identify yourself with anything, that is not you. Obviously, you are not moving from untruth to truth, you are moving from truth to untruth, from reality to hallucinatory process. In this, one will not evolve, one will just entangle, because in this, you will not know the nature of your existence. In this, you will not touch anything that is real. The psychological drama will rise in such a big way, it will raise so much dust in your head that you can't see what is in front of you. This is what is happening because you're constantly raising the muck, because you're identifying yourself with things that you're not. So what is the nature of my relationship is not the problem. The problem is that you're identifying yourself with that. You're using substances other than yourself to create a sense of self. There is nothing in the existence which will substitute the self. Because the only way, the only and only way you can experience anything for that matter is through the self, there is no other way. Your very existence is self-ish. Your very existence is selfish because everything that happens only through the self. There is no other way. So if you keep this just as it is capable of reflecting the whole cosmos for you. If you muck it up, it doesn't even show you what's right in front of you. So, if you are in a state of non-identification with anything other than what's this, you will come naturally to an unwavering way of being. Once you're unwavering in your purpose, liberation cannot be denied to you. There is no way it can be denied to you. The reason why this life does not get to its natural destination is, every minute you're changing course. Every minute, the focus of your life keeps shifting. Every minute, whatever you set your eyes upon, it gets identified with it. So after some time, it just does not know where to go. It just will not know where to go. It will be one confusing mess. Suddenly, life looks unnecessarily complicated. The complication is only in your psychological process.